radios. And then we have also an increase that's coming from the code office, but it's in the general government budget. It's for online permitting. So that office has indicated that they think they're ready to take on online permitting. There's a module that they're very interested in having available to them. They're still researching, excuse me, with other towns, what experience those towns have had, but they feel ready to make this move. And I know this was a recommendation that was part of the communications committee, the work that they did. And so I think, again, we're seeing some of those, recommendations move forward and become budget items, and this is one of them.
If I could just add one thing to that, definitely that they looked at various technology systems in the town office. They were also recommending that we try to mesh the various department programs, technology for permitting with payment, et cetera, et cetera. So
Okay.
I don't know if that's been taken into account or not, but
I can't answer that question. I don't know.
We haven't finalized the decision
Yeah.
For the company, but knowing that we had to get the funding in now in order to go to March town meeting, but definitely we'll make that part of the consideration.
if somebody could get their permit, pay the
And
thing,
pay,
and it just seamlessly goes.
Presumably, pay would be involved in
Pay
that.
is supposed
Yeah.
to be part of this, at least it was on the demo that we saw.
Yeah.
But we had a bunch of changes from the demo.
Okay,
And so we are getting together next Friday for another demo.
great.
But definitely the first one had it, and they wouldn't take it out. But
But how it would
Yeah.
connect to and integrate with
Yeah.
the tax office would be worth, I think, investigating and see if that can,
integrate with the tax office?
when they pay the permit.
But it
Doesn't it
wouldn't
go
need to
to
go
the-
through the tax office. The permitting fees flow through the code office.
I understand,
Yeah.
but where does you give your credit card, where does that then go and get accounted for and processed?
Well, it gets receipted through the code enforcement office, right?
Well,
That area?
any receipts that go through codes gets receipted at the front desk.
Oh, okay.
So the front desk receipts those, and it would be part of the front desk person's daily journals. You're saying the electronic part?
Mm-hmm.
The electronic part, that's part of the relationship that we have to work out. Like we have our mooring system, we have our MyRec system, and so that's the communication with their processor. We require things to be transferred within our bank account within 3 days. Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
So then that all gets reconciled, but it doesn't hit another office within the town office.
Certainly not the tax office.
Right.
It doesn't involve
Okay.
the tax
Right.
office.
Right.
Yeah.
So however it is,
Yeah.
to the extent that can be integrated and smoothly done from all the places where it comes, was the recommendation of the tech part of the communication tech committee.
Very good. So overall, I wondered if we might get, I don't know if our tech person is willing or able to get the budget number up online, but I thought it would be helpful just to do that overview page, so people have a general idea what we're talking about, the overall number. We're currently looking at a $7.7 million budget with a 5.25% increase. In the operations area, we're looking at about a 6.2% increase, and in the capital area, 1.6. And so we'll go through those subcategories, but I just thought for the general public, yeah, and for the select board also, and you're very aware of this, this is kind of the big picture. Because I know sometimes we get really into the weeds, and that's fine, that's great, but this gives you a sense of the areas where there's been increase: general government 8.3%, public works 2.5%, protection and safety 11.7%, and a lot of that is because of we're proposing to add the Saturday, Sunday coverage of the firefighters. A decrease in health and welfare, cultural and recreational up 1.4%, Mitchell Field up 34.2%. That's basically operations, as I said. Our contingency account we needed to replenish, and then our special projects figure is down 57%. And then in the capital area, debt service down 9.6%. Other capital is up 1.7. Recycling center is up 100%. Emergency vehicles 33, and roads 100%. And that's a total of a 1.6% increase overall. When you add the operations and capital budgets together, the total increase is 5.25%. So I don't think that's a bad place to be at this point. And I will say that we've had a couple of other things come up. NEFSA has reached out to the town to see if the town is willing to consider an appropriation. So that will be on your select board agenda next week. We have some money in our budget for cleaning headstones at the old townhouse cemetery. And that, I believe, was to do it by pressure washing, which is less expensive. We just got a budget figure this week for cleaning them kind of by hand with a solution, and that's much more expensive. So we're still looking at which option is the best option, and we might need to get some.
Some of those old slate stones, you could blow them apart. with
I think
pressure
there's a
washing.
concern about pressure washing, which is
Yeah.
why we wanted to get this
Yeah.
number.
We're actually having ours clean, and Billy Allen, we hired a kid, he's
And
he's
what,
good at it.
Scrub
what's
It's
brush.
like $50 a stone.
is he hand doing it?
Yep.
Cleaning, okay, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Then he's also hired by the Willing Helpers on Billy Allen to do the other
Okay.
one, so.
So anyway, it's more labor intensive, it's more expensive, and I don't know if we have enough money to cover that type of cleaning.
Yeah.
So we'll look at that. And then we talked earlier at the 5 o'clock workshop about having someone come in and do like a wage and salary study for the town, look at how our wages compare to the labor market in the area, the framework that we use that was developed back in 2014, is that still a good framework? Do we need to make some changes to that framework? The last time we did this, I thought it was a really kind of good process in that the person that we hired met with every employee and talked about their job responsibilities, looked at their job descriptions, made changes, and, again, I think all the employees felt heard about what they contribute, what their responsibilities are, and how you kind of, I guess, apply a value to that, which is always very difficult. But anyway, I think you're going to see that number hopefully next week. So that would be in addition to what you're looking at tonight. So we can start. I think the other thing to say, if people are following along at home, this new updated number and all the budget sheets behind it are posted with the agenda on the website, so if people want to follow along, they can do that. We can move to the general government department, and that's where we have salaries for full-time administrator, full-time deputy town administrator, and treasurer. We have an office assistant. We have part-time help, that this person does our payroll, accounts payable. Unfortunately, they're leaving soon after having been with us for 3 years. I think I said 2 before, but it's been 3. And we also have our new part-time tech support person, and that's working out really well. So those are most of the wages you see in that category. We contract for certain services when we need help with things like, economic development. What should we charge for rents at Mitchell Field? We've utilized some consulting services there. I think in this year's budget, we put money in to bring in a consultant to kind of help with developing a strategy or gathering information for our bond, a possible bond for the central station. We had done that previously when we were going to borrow money for the demolition of the pier at Mitchell Field. We brought in a specialist to really help us work through that issue and help the town decide if it made sense for us to go out on our own, get our own municipal bond, or work with a local bank or the municipal
Right.
bond bank, the main municipal bond bank. So there's money in there for that. Annual audit is in there, computer system services agreement, and this is where we have software that we use for accounting, for tax purposes. We also have a system that we use for assessing purposes. This is where we would put the new online permitting system, so you see 11,000 there if you're looking at one of the backup sheets. We have some licenses for GIS. This is also where we carry our legal budget, and we're proposing to go from 50,000 to 65,000. We had a lot of issues come up in 2024. While we would like most of them to go away, they don't always go away so easily. So we anticipate needing that money in 2025. We have a relatively small budget for advertising and promotion, copying, to have our own printer here. There are certain costs associated with that. Postage for mailing out town reports, bulletins, notices from the various offices that come, they all come out of the general government budget. We have a small travel expense line, training. Then we have membership dues to Maine Municipal Association, Mid-Coast Economic Development District, Southern Maine Mid-Coast Chapter, or Chamber, I'm sorry, and the Harpswell Business Association. I think, is that an organization we're still waiting for information from? Yeah, so we plugged in $50, but I don't know that, thank you. I don't know that we actually received a request at this point.
So we don't receive a request for the 50.
Oh, not for
We
that 50.
It's under the 6,000 category.
Oh, okay. We have the printing of the town report, general office supplies, computer equipment, video filming. We have some help with that, office equipment, and register our voters. Thank you so much.
Well, you're
There's
doing
a
all the
lot of
talking. so-
items that fall under general government. You know, that number is at 2.153, so there's a lot of things that fall in that category. And that's just the first part of it. I just went through $521,300 of that budget.
Sure, yeah. And just one question on the contracted services. You feel
Yeah.
for these several areas that the 15,000 is going to be sufficient?
You know, it's always hard to know and to predict everything that we might need some help with. I will say, in planning, we have a separate line for contracted services, and we have a lot more money in there.
Yeah.
Because we do anticipate needing contracted services in that budget. I'm trying to think if there are other budgets that we have, maybe harbor and waterfront a little bit, I'm not sure.
No, I don't.
But most of it, we try to anticipate here, but it's always hard. We do have money for emergency services consulting. We have the gentleman Norm Boucher who helped us. He's our, what you would kind of call our owner's representative when we put in the new system.
Sure,
You know, he
yes,
kind of made
right,
sure
right.
things were done according to plan. He's also looking at the gap in Cundy's Harbor. We have a bit of a communications gap there. But that's in another part of the budget.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of this general part of the
Yeah.
budget. Yeah.
So the 5,000 that was in there previously would cover the franchise discussions and the economic development consulting. We added 5,000 for the communication strategy and 5,000 for the financial report, which was a little, the cost, the last time we did it, it was, I think, 3,500. So we were hoping that that would be enough, but as Christie said, we never know, but we're starting off thinking it's enough.
Good. You have Central Station mentioned there, but that's.
Well, it's for the financial services for issuing our own bond.
For the
Right.
Central Station, okay, not separate. Okay, well, you know, maybe when we get to later stages, and see how low we are between the
Right.
recommended
Okay.
LD one, we might look at that. Because I'd hate you to have to postpone something for a year.
I know,
just
yeah.
for $5,000 or something of
Right.
that nature.
Well, that is why we have contingency too, just in case.
This is true.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Then we get into elected officials. Account number 1100. We have 2 full-time people, tax collector, town clerk. The board talked earlier tonight about a number to plug in there with a new person running for tax collector. So we will put that new number in the budget. And this also covers the select board's positions, the 3 positions here, and there is a small travel budget as well. Assessing account 1120, full-time assessor, part-time helper in that office. Then we have a couple of different, these are contracted services here. Sub-accounts 1007, sub-account 1009. Some has to do with our tax maps every year, getting our tax maps updated. And some has to do with performing kind of like sales surveys and making sure that we haven't fallen too far from our our numbers, our assessment numbers, but I don't think there'll be a lot of that being done this year because we've hired an outside company.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah,
I hope not.
Excuse me.
bless you.
I don't think there's much more to talk about there. Code enforcement. Full-time code enforcement officer. Wages for really 2 full-time people, the office assistant and another code enforcement officer. And the bulk of that budget is for personnel.
Just note, sometimes in the Budget Committee, various members look at the, what services are paying for themselves.
yes.
And the Coast Department's revenue was $203,326 last year, so
Yeah.
they do.
Yeah. People used to ask about the mooring fees and all, you know,
Yeah.
assuming that it went into the harbor master's budget.
Yeah,
Right.
Is it enough to cover?
Yeah.
Not, but,
yeah, but as a cost center, it's
yeah, in this case. it
very
is.
well, very well.
It covers the straight cost, but it doesn't, that's why we still do a
Exactly.
fee analysis, because it
Exactly.
doesn't include overhead, it doesn't include benefits.
Yeah.
Right, but sort of the direct costs are covered, yeah.
Then we have account 1140, tax collector. This is where we have the non-elected position of the deputy tax collector. We have done some cross-training, and we want to keep doing some cross-training in that office. Their contracted services are for the tax bills to be printed by an outside firm. And that's really the bulk of that particular office. Town clerk, again, this is where it's the deputy. Town clerk is a full-time position. And then you have some other costs associated with the annual town meeting, state elections, some office equipment, but primarily it's wages. Town planner, this is where we need to, we will make a change to the full-time salary line. We do have contracted services in there. We have a little bit of part-time help. We don't have anybody on staff that has strong GIS skills, so we have money in there for GIS. I think with our new town planner situation that this is an evolving office. We will work with the planner to determine what the needs are of the planning office going forward. And if you do get a chance to read the comp plan that's been developed by the task force, there is a lot going on in that. And I have said publicly that with our current staff, we will not be able to make all of those things happen. So I think people need to realize that we're gonna need some planning assistance to move forward on some of those recommendations, and assistance in other areas too, as well. We have committees and commissions, and this is where the town of Harpswell gets tremendous value, because this does not even begin to cover the kind of skill sets that people have that offer to the town and help us in so many ways advance so many of our objectives and goals. And this is just a little bit of money that can be used for special events they might want to hold, or special outreach activities. We also pay a stipend to Board of Appeals and Planning Board members, but it's really only like $10 a meeting. It
Yeah, it's
really is.
not very much.
It's very nominal, and some of them donate it back to the town.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Next area is facilities, primarily our municipal building. We don't have an employee as a custodian, so we hire out the services. We have added money to our electricity line with our new heat pumps. We think that is gonna be a significant increase there, but then a decrease, obviously, in the fuel for the heating system. So, this is where we carry the phone, Comcast, repair and maintenance to the building, very low HVAC support, since we've just put a brand-new system in, money to keep our municipal vehicle fleet working. We do bring in drinking water here. There's a really small amount of money that goes towards water treatment. And then we do have a new propane heating system, and we have budgeted for that. And then our security system. Our emergency services garage, where the paramedic intercept vehicle is housed along with the person who's working, and that's a 24/7 situation. We pay electric, cable, internet, phone, repair the building as needed, provide drinking water, and minimal supplies. The old townhouse, we did put some more money in there for the grounds. I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a lot of trees that are looking
Right.
rather unhealthy in that area, and those, cutting some of those branches and,
Some of the trees just got completely taken down.
well, that was because of CMP's
Yeah,
easement,
yeah. Perfectly good oak trees,
yeah.
but, yeah,
Well, did the roof ever get done?
Yeah,
yeah.
Did it?
yeah,
I
yeah,
missed it.
it's done.
I didn't realize there was a
Yeah.
Margaret Chase tree there.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I just found out about a week ago.
I
Oh,
helped
really?
plant that
Oh, did you?
back in 1958.
Wow,
Arbor Day.
Yeah, Arbor Day. I took, in fact, I gotta tell you this, Margaret Chase Smith came to town,
Oh, yeah.
and I walked her around. She wanted to look at that tree, she'd never seen it.
Huh.
So I took her in my arm and I walked her around the
Oh, you sat on-
grounds. Yeah,
we have, building maintenance, security. And again, there's money for cleaning the stones, but that's not gonna be enough.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, power washing's not the answer.
Is
Okay.
there,
Yeah.
is there money in there, in the reserve account?
There's a little,
5,000.
Is that-
5,000 still remaining from the approval.
So
So we have
it'd be
10.
potentially 10, yeah, good.
the estimate I got was 19,000.
Was that for the chemical wash?
Yeah, for the hand,
The hand, yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
hand washing. Then we have the town dock at Potts Point.
what
we
town
have-
docket pot?
Yeah. We have Tim Forrester working on a plan, and so that should be coming to you in the next week or so. We're
If-
running into a tight timeline here.
Kind of lost track where we are with the insurance company or FEMA or,
So we've received close to 100,000 from the insurance company, but we still haven't agreed that that's the final number.
Yeah.
And the claims adjuster that we were working with has retired.
Oh,
So there's a new person that's been assigned, and
Gonna call the twos.
I think we're getting close.
It's important to note that the Budget Committee, brought up whether there should be some funding in here to do the float option again. Checked with the harbor master, and he's not recommending that, but the Budget Committee wanted to make sure that there were some funds in there for whatever option may come up for this year, but your harbor master's, assuming you're gonna get recommendations from your harbor and waterfront and harbor master on if there are viable options. Of course, it will tie in together with the plan as well.
Terry, can I just clarify? That relates to the $10,000 recommendation from the BAC. Is that's the one that the harbor master is not?
Those notes, I'm
For the
sorry,
addition-
that whole old note area
Yeah.
was from last year and should be updated for sure.
Okay.
That
Does
was
apply
before the,
Also to the RNS reserve for a survey, or is the survey still being looked at?
that whole thing, well, we are using RNS money for the plan that Tim
Right,
Forrester is
right.
doing now, but that whole section was the update back when we had a pier, so it was for last year.
Oh, okay.
So
So
from,
that should have just not been
yes,
there. Got it.
yes,
Okay.
sorry about that.
Okay.
Then we have town landings, our mowing and maintenance at a number of locations. It says possible new porta potty at Mackerel Cove, but I don't think we're doing that. I think the land trust may have put one in.
Oh, they did.
Did they?
D-
Yeah,
absolutely, yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
And then we did have a park monitor in this budget, but it's been moved to harbor and waterfront, so that's why it went from 10,000 to 0. There is money for some specific projects, and I don't remember off the top of my head which project. Do you? Terry?
It says to replace picnic tables and regrade
Oh,
Hildreth
thank
Road
you. Okay,
Landing.
yeah. Hildreth Road, yeah.
The sand pit.
But the picnic tables aren't at Hildreth, right? They're somewhere else?
I think they're at a different
Oh, yeah. okay,
location. I
Different
can,
location, yeah. Got it. Okay, then we have Cedar Beach. And primarily wages here so that we can fulfill the requirements of an easement agreement where we have to provide monitoring from, basically from June 1st through Labor Day. And that's a requirement. It doesn't say how many hours, but it just says they have to go a couple of times a day. And, we've had a pretty successful program, and it falls under the Recreation Department's oversight. We've had some signage issues from time to time, but. And then cemeteries, pleased to report that there is a group that is getting the Cranberry Horn Cemetery back to a functioning organization. They're still requesting more funding from the town than the other private cemeteries. But we're hopeful that this might be the last year of that situation. They'll do much more fundraising on their own and get themselves back into good fiscal shape.
and the Budget Committee basically wanted that as a condition,
Yeah, that's
That-
true.
Of what?
that they come back with either raising it themselves or a plan to make themselves, their request more similar in line with the vets as the other private cemeteries.
Oh, okay.
And just as background, there's been a great turnover in the group that has managed that cemetery.
Yeah.
And they're in the process of rebuilding
Yeah,
their
Organization,
systems and
yeah.
organization, yeah.
yeah, some really good people involved. Risk management, oh, gotta love that insurance, right? Gotta have that.
Get some of this back.
We did do a $15,000 reduction in workers' comp. We originally thought our rates were gonna be much higher, but they came in lower, and so we are pretty comfortable with that number, which is $60,000. We provide workers' comp for all of our volunteer fire people, and that's a higher rate for those people, for both the town's municipal firefighters and all the volunteers that we cover. So it did go up partly because we know we're gonna have more municipal firefighters on the weekend that we'll need to cover. This is where we have general liability, public officials liability, property, boats, motors, vehicles. We have some accident insurance, and we have a specific policy that helps cover volunteer firefighters from the time they leave their home till they get to the call, which
Oh,
was a
yeah.
gap in our other insurance. Employee benefits, as our payroll increases, so do these costs, the Social Security, FICA, Medicare. We have one person left on the state retirement plan, everybody else is on the 457 plan. This is where the group health insurance figure is, and we have some short-term leave, and paid family medical leave is a new item, it's a new state law, and it requires us to put in, 0.5%, and the employee puts in 0.5%, and this goes into a pot of money that's going to be available to people in Maine who need to take family and medical leave time and get paid for it.
A contribution, they call it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Voluntary contribution.
Contingency, that gives you a really good overview of our contingency expenses over a number of years since 2008.
Well,
We had a big year in 2024, but we had a big year in 2015. If you look back, we had a big year in 2018. So, interesting, legal drove it in 2018. And it really drove it in 2024, the overage.
Boy, streetlights were in there several times. About
I think it
five
was,
times.
but not that much. It was $954 one
Right.
place, and I think in 2023 it's because we cut the budget so much, and then we had to fix them or something, and now we have to pay when they get fixed. And-
Right.
It's also because, for some reason, we've always carried that as a separate warrant article.
Oh, right.
Now that the town of Harpswell owns them, we're going to put them in with our facilities.
Ah.
So when you go $483 over
Yeah.
budget, there's a little bit of room in
Yeah,
the full
yeah.
article.
Great,
Yeah, those are really small,
great.
comparatively speaking. Special projects, this is where we had a big reduction from when we first went to the budget committee. And it's in the townwide revaluation area. The town signed a contract with Vision Appraisal, and they're going to do a reval of the residential properties, not business, personal property. That wasn't something they did not want to do. The business equipment and personal property of commercial businesses. So we did initially have a really high estimate for somebody to come in and do that. And now, I think that first estimate was like 80-something thousand or 70,000, and this one is down to 24,000. And then we also, when the town signed its contract with Vision Appraisal, we reduced the contract by 20,000. First of all, we didn't have enough money for for, I think they wanted over $400,000 to do the to do the whole contract.
Yeah.
And there was 20,000 in there for what they call callbacks.
Callback.
Yeah.
And they said if we wanted to do the callbacks, then they would take that out.
Yeah.
We're proposing to put it back in because we don't yet know if the assessing department's gonna be able to handle
Right, yeah.
callback.
Yeah.
So we'd rather have it back in there and say, Vision, you do it, if we think that it's something we can't handle. And then the harbor master asked for the marine hazard reserve to be, established or kind of pumped up to 20,000. It used to have about 10 in it. It got wiped out because of the, the January storms, taking some of the debris from the town dock up to the recycling center. It might have involved moving the whale carcass. I mean, there were a number of things that hit that area, and he just is suggesting it should have more money in it. Recycling. We have a director, we have wages for 3 full-time people, 1 part-time person seasonally, waste disposal fees, transportation involved with trucking the waste disposal out, utilities, repair, maintenance, supplies, et cetera. We're proposing to put the project out to bid for a new recycling center building, so not really sure where that is at the moment. Do you know, Terry?
Still,
Excuse me.
they're still working on it, the
Okay.
engineers, and we have, we're gonna check into our septic pipes anyways, it's moving along.
Okay. All of the wages are in the recycling part of the budget, but transfer station is the next page. And the same folks can work in both locations. And this just has the figures related to the waste disposal of the items that go up back to the transfer station. This is also where we pay for wood grinding to be done.
When do we usually do that?
Ugh.
Spring,
Late summer,
late summer? Oh, we already had it done.
no,
We had it done in August.
why is it a nice big pile again?
I've been up there, I was just curious.
Oh.
I'm guessing there is a big pile there, though.
Well, I think from the January storms, hopefully that pile has been,
Oh, yeah,
The
that,
rest.
yeah, if they did it this summer, it'd
Yeah.
be gone, but.
town roads. This is for our part-time road commissioner, his compensation. A general repair budget. And then you have a history section of all the roads that were fixed in 2024 and what they cost. Again, these are just repairs, minor repairs, not the capital part of the budget. Ditching, clearing culverts, installing signs, repairing potholes, removing graffiti, all kinds of different things. Next, town road snow removal. And we have a contract with R.A. Weber and Sons, so that's a number that we know. And then we purchase salt and sand every year. And that's been staying relatively stable, but maybe we can look for some reductions in that area. Certainly hasn't been a winter of a lot of snow.
Yeah, but as soon as we reduce it, that's when we will get a wicked winter.
Yeah. Sheriff's Department, we have a contract for general law enforcement. We've had this for a number of years. This budget also includes our dispatch services with Cumberland County. And I think this is good value for the town.
Excuse me, we were doing some speed details in
Yeah.
prior years. What
Yeah.
is expected for going
So
forward?
we are, I think what you'll see when you look at the monthly reports, they're putting the speed details right in the reports.
So
We're
we're
not paying
putting-
extra for them.
Got it.
Yeah. And I have seen them on these speed details.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
In
I
my
have as
neighborhood.
well.
I don't know
yeah.
about you, but.
I drive slow in your neighborhood.
And then we have our agreement with Cumberland County for marine patrol services. They also have a small budget for the airboat for the operations and maintenance. But that boat is owned by the town. And I think the other important thing to say about the marine contract is that these they are also deputies, so they can arrest people, stop people. They have general law enforcement capabilities if
Right.
needed.
And they're both very dedicated.
Yes,
The
they really are.
the knowledge they have, we had a marine resource meeting last night, and they were just, they're all over it.
Yeah. They've done a really nice job. So there's 5,000 requested for marine services and conservation. I don't know the specific project. It does say Spruce Cove, but I'm not sure if that's a
I think that's an old
old
note
note.
as well.
Yeah.
They want to further investigate them.
That's always a problem.
You thought it was?
It's been a problem
It's
over
been
the
a
years.
problem, yeah.
That Brickyard Cove is always a problem. Anything up in Quahog Bay. It's a lot better since Snow Island has a pump-out boat.
Oh, good.
You know, the yachts come up there, they usually, they never minded unloading their tanks up there, then all of a sudden, the flats are shut down, so.
Exactly, exactly.
Isn't there a
Snow
name
Island's
for
got
that
crazy.
that we can't mention on television?
What's that?
That is the name for that cove that we can't mention on TV?
You cannot use that, no, you can't.
Fire and rescue. Cundy's Harbor requested 82,000, OBI 82,000, and Harpswell next 67,500. Okay. Then we have our Department of Safety, which is led by our fire administrator, who is also our EMA. And this is where you'll see a pretty significant increase in the budget, but it's primarily because we're adding the Saturday, Sunday coverage, and we're increasing the pay scale for those positions.
Right.
Emergency advanced life support is our paramedic service, primarily with Midcoast Hospital Main Health. We're coming up on the end of a 5-year term, and we're reaching out. We're pretty sure that they're amenable to another 5-year contract, so.
I hope so.
We
Boy.
expect that to
Yeah.
happen. We've been told yes, but we don't
Yeah.
have it in writing, yeah.
Yeah.
And that is great value for the money. Harbor Master's budget is up, but a lot of that is due to moving this monitor position over into the part-time wage line. So the deputy harbor master would work 32 hours for 30 weeks. And then we also would have this monitor position kind of under the direction of the harbor master, helping out the deputy harbor master and the harbor master, but also available to do oversight of other town landings and properties as well.
And how much let me see if I've.
How many
reading it.
hours
How
for
many
that?
hour, what's the
Um,
expectation for the amount of time for that
That-
person?
I don't have that in front of me. Do you, Terry? You recall?
It doesn't seem to work out based on the hiring, but he intends 32 hours by 30 weeks each position.
Oh, each position, thank you.
Got it.
Got it.
Has not worked out to that extent, but that would be May through September,
Okay.
October.
Yeah. And before it was a smaller period of time for the monitor. Animal control. We have a new animal control officer who's doing a great job, so.
Yeah, the previous assistant control officer asked him how the new guy was feeling about, I mean, not how he was working out, but how, if he still enjoyed the job, I guess.
As far as I know.
Yeah. Because I always say, it's not the animal you're dealing with, it's the
Yeah,
people.
I know.
Yeah, apparently you've been in Hannaford.
Yeah, right, I have. Well, he's also on the Henpe Board of Directors, so.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Our street lighting, as Terry said, we own the street lights now, and they've gone down significantly in cost. We don't pay CMP to rent the street light anymore, or lease it. We have general assistance.
Gee, we
We
might make
really-
it all the way through here.
We have a lot of heating assistance applicants that we deal with through the town's program, but we don't really have a lot of general assistance clients. But this is a program required under state law. Social services, the town provides some nominal fees. In some cases, it's more than nominal to some of these groups, but they do excellent work in their focus areas, and the town has a history of supporting these organizations. Total amount is $34,833. $10,000 of that goes to People Plus, $6,000 to Midcoast Hunger Prevention, and $5,000 to Harpswell Aging at Home. Health and wellness section of the budget, we put money in there to help people with property tax assistance. This is where we carry our appropriations for heating assistance. And also, I guess there's a little bit of carryover, is that right, Terry, that unexpended home repair money?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But in terms of a request going forward, it's just 10,000 for property tax assistance, because we get so much. We have funds from ARPA, we have donations from Cooks recently, and we don't feel we need an appropriation in 2025.
Right.
And we get a lot of generous donations from individuals for heating assistance. Cultural, there was an increase to the Cundy's Harbor Library. Curtis Memorial Library has stayed flat. HCBC has stayed at the same rate as the prior year. And because Harpswell Neck Physical Education is no longer asking for the capital contribution, that area has gone down in totality.
Community fireworks?
That is something the town has done. It's been requested through Cooks that the town contribute to a
Okay.
what they call a community fireworks display. We don't pay for 100% of it,
Right,
right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
no, because that $2,500 wouldn't cover much in
No.
a professional fireworks display.
Recreation and Community Services, our full-time position, we do have to make a update there. We have a part-time helper, assistant, and some other expenses. fairly minimal. Recreation programs. You know, I think I should say too, we have a new recreation director, so it will probably take time for the recreation director to get a sense of, you know, is this budget adequate? Do
Yeah.
things need to change?
Yeah.
And I think one of the things we're trying to do is kind of add more of the community services piece, and so we'll see where that goes.
Load her up. She'll handle it, though. She's really good, Katie.
And then we have our rec programs. There was more money put in Trufant Somerton to fix the apron as you go into the facility. And we're sharing that cost with Harpswell Heritage Land Trust. And then there's money in the trails hiking portion to fix some kind of, some type of issue with, is it coming off of Route 24 over there?
At Devil's Back?
Devil's Back,
Yes.
kind of
It's
another
a
apron issue.
paving apron.
It's a
issue,
paving,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so then we moved to debt service. And I would say, you know, we have not yet made any determination, have we, about putting the central building into this? Yeah, we have not put it into this debt schedule. But we will prepare something for the public hearing on February 6th about sort of budgetary impacts
Right.
of that.
Yep.
Right, right.
The pier is coming down slowly but surely.
Yeah, yeah, I think that was that a 20-year? Yeah, that was
Yeah.
a 20-year.
Moving backwards before we can go forward.
Okay. Then we get into capital reserves, and I don't know if you think that's a good place to stop tonight, essentially, or
Well,
what do you think? Did you want to keep going? Or,
Can you do it in 3 minutes?
I mean, I wouldn't mind picking this up next week if
Yeah,
you
let's
all
do
right
it
with
next
me.
week.
It's all right
Let's
with
do
me.
it next week.
Yeah.
people seem to be arguing.
Huh?
People seem to be arguing.
Fighting, we're fighting.
It's sort of the eyes glaze over moment.
Yeah,
It's hit
yeah,
me.
yeah.
I don't know about
Yeah.
other people. Yeah.
Yep.
A lot of numbers here, a lot
Yeah.
of numbers.
Yep, a lot of numbers. All right,
Very good.
public
Very
comment.
well done.
I don't see anything up there, do you?
I
Nope.
don't.
Nope.
Other business?
I do want to bring to the board's attention that our auditors were here this week, and
How'd we do?
very good,
Great.
great.
Thanks to Terry.
I will say, I start by saying that because we have a very tight time frame to pull things together, and vendor billing isn't always on our schedule despite calls. And so at last week's meeting, you did approve the carryover list. 2 bills came in and that were very, one was for legal fees, which ended up being greater than what the estimate that was given to me. So this is kind of twofold. The legal bills came in $586, $587 rounding up, higher than the amount that was provided. And you also voted for use of contingency. And so there's 2 differences on the carryover list. One would be the carryover for contingency would be reduced to $1,219. It was $1,806, but there was the additional $587 in legal fees that came in that we want to make sure to account for within our 2024 financials. We also received an additional engineering invoice for the recycling center reserve for $2,985, which reduces that reserve to $739,499. So So the total, it's 3,572 less on the carryover.
Nope.
If you would please approve that amendment, including the additional use of contingency
So
funds.
moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
And the auditor, who I met with this afternoon, was quite complimentary about the staff.
Well, I
I
think so.
say it's primarily Terry. She has been working many, many hours. Like, it takes a tremendous amount of work and focus and dedication, and she
It's all of
definitely
us.
has it.
It's all of us, and we have nice controls and things go smoothly, and
But you're the one that keeps
Yeah.
it all together, Terry.
It's
In the
nice to hear.
financial area.
Yeah. When you're sitting with an auditor, it's nice to hear those kind of things.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Try to find some way to take credit, but I couldn't work it out.
No.
All right, at this point, we're adjourned.